I'll be like the good guys, Kevin and Brooke.
Us farmers have got to keep going. Forklift, quit. Normal out here.
One thing that we've learned is Mother Nature is undefeated. You either swing for the fence or you're sitting on the bench.
If you don't step on into the future just a little bit, you're going to be left behind.
I mean, it was the first field I planted, so all my planter troubles were here, all my fertilizer problems were here.
Better be on your toes this year, fellas. That's all I can say.
This episode of Corn Warriors is presented by Pivot Bio.
So today's May 14th. The last 2 days we've been doing a little filming here for the Corn Warriors Season 4. Probably 90% done with our beans, and we just started planting a little bit of corn. No major flooding this year, which is kind of unusual for us. We do have 3 contest entries planted. Could have possibly up to 13 entries in it this year. Kind of excited about that, but you know, very slow pace on corn. We're holding off. They're calling for rain next 3 or 4 days here. All in all, we have no corn out of the ground, but beans look good. Kind of excited about the Soil Warrior, see what it can bring to the table for our farm. I'm probably about as most optimistic of our crop potential with the Soil Warrior and following the soybeans with our corn this year than I've ever been. I'm just kind of overly impressed with the seed bed that it makes for you, and you know, mixing the fertilizer in there, the dry fertilizer. Yeah, I am kind of excited. If it helped David grow 616 bushel corn last year, maybe it can push us to 450 this year. We'll see. Since King David's out, we're even more hungry than we've ever been to win this thing. Better be on your toes this year, fellas. That's all I can say.
This year's been a challenging year for farming and a lot of major rainfall events. We were about a month behind on planting. We made it through that, and then it rained a whole bunch more on top of that. We had significant nitrogen losses this year, probably more so than we've ever seen in the past. We saw greater than a 30 bushel per acre response with the Pivot Bio proven product. It really showed up this year.
Pivot Bio Proven, the nitrogen that stays put, whether or not.
My name's Cory Atley from Cedarville, Ohio. We farm currently 8,000 acres. I told him, I said, welcome to the land of the wind. That gazebo was once straight. It ended up on top of that tree there because of the wind. They had another trampoline, that ended up at Dad's house. That was the second trampoline, so now we're on trampoline number 3. It's just always windy out here. It's a lot of fun. Today was a trying day. We got to watch it rain a lot. According to the forecast, it could be beginning the middle of June before we get back in the fields. Hopefully they're wrong, but good news of the day, we got to go out and look at some corn and soybeans. Looks like we drove off the road and we're in the middle of a pond. That's a bean field. Still got a couple in the clay ground that's coming. Then we lose that good bean stand and now they're gone. We just won't go right in the flood. I mean, this is Well, we've been fighting the last 2 years. How quick can this water get off? Or else we'll be in here replanting this. Yeah, so this is where we got started on beans here. Pretty happy with the margins right there though. Beans love stress. They love stress early. They gotta be able to keep their head above water. You know, that's my main concern right now is how fast we can keep this water off the fields. That's why tile becomes so important right now to us. You know, we can be in survival mode and still be in that 80, 100 range, but to be in that 100 to 130 range, we gotta have things work just right for us. One thing that we've learned is Mother Nature is undefeated. So she always wins. It's kind of like Father Time. Mother Nature's undefeated. So we gotta play by her rules, and what she says goes. Calling for more rain here in the next 3 days. Hope those beans know how to swim. Our ground's like walking on marshmallows, even when it's dry. So when we get wet, man, you walk out there, you'll feel it. Man, you're just gonna. Told you boys, there's no bottom to this ground. Golly. So we struggle keeping our equipment up even when it's dry. So this side of the field will be corn once we ever get there. There's about just shy of 1,000 acres right here. Farming stuff, it's not easy. Like days like today, you have a better chance of taking a jet ski to check your crop than an ATV. So we do it though, you gotta be resilient. Yeah, the most rewarding part of planting is watching it come up. This is it. I love taking these drives, going and seeing emergence, seeing how well it looks, health to it. I just hate doing it when it's flooded. It's twofold today. I mean, I enjoy doing this, but just look around. You know, it seems like we've been tested here a lot lately. And we still gotta have faith and trust in him that we're gonna get through this and make it, and I do. But you almost gotta be a little dumb to keep coming back and doing this. I mean, year after year, it's one knockdown after another. Just keep coming back for more. We're a glutton for punishment.
This segment is brought to you in part by BASF. We create chemistry.
The Soil Warrior here, the way we got ours set up is, it's not laying a bandage strip down. So as it's running through the soil, we got it, it's mixing through the whole profile that it's worked. Don't know what's right, what's the best way actually. As me and Matt was talking, we're kind of thinking, you know, instead of having the roots go straight down in one narrow band, maybe they will spread out a little bit and kind of go down a little bit wider. You know, this Soil Warrior is kind of another piece into the puzzle. For ROI, you know, dry fertilizer is a lot cheaper than the liquid. The reason we have been going away from the dry fertilizer is because the salts, we weren't able to run enough humics in it as we go to help buffing out the salts, and now the Soil Warrior was nice enough to add liquid on it so we could run quite a bit of humic acid in it to kind of coat some of the fertilizer that's getting in there. So our theory on the Soil Warrior, what we're running here is potash, DAP, and some ESN. The way we have been farming with our tissue samples over the last several years, we kind of went back and guessed about 2/3 of the normal fertilizer that we use being liquid. We went ahead and put that down in a band on dry because, you know, the reason we don't like putting all of our fertilizer up in on a strip till or a dry band is we don't know what kind of year we're going to have. You know, you go back to 2017 where it was nice and cool. You know, we didn't pull near as much nutrients as far as our fertilizer bill was a lot less in 17 because we didn't have near the stress. And that's why we kind of come back with our liquid program, the Y drops, then we could fine tune the rest of the fertilizer with the Y drops then.
Yeah, we've never had an issue with drought stress down here, but we have had root lodging issues.
Yeah.
So here's the seed, a couple of them here. There's that fertilizer. Some of those prills. Look at these orthworms in here too. They're happy. Look at all that.
So yeah, I mean, you could see a few prills on top, but it mixed fantastically. We actually got a plot in here too. The hybrid plot got planted at 38,000, and then the contest, I believe, was at 40,000. And that's the new Tricepta. You know, we proved it last year with 6744. You know, we had it 38,000. It still went 394. So, and that was in an extremely, well, it was a record dry August heat and.
Yep, and
drought.
we planted late.
And we planted late. So, you know, this was our first corn we planted of the year, and that was May 12th. So that was our first corn planted of the year. You know, we've seen a lot of guys planted corn this year, and you know they have some issues, stand issues, emergence. Most of it come up, but it's not an even emergence. You know, we just know that you cannot chase high yields without having an even stand. I mean, that's the main goal no matter what time you plant. If it's 1st of April, 1st of May, or 1st of June, you know, patience is a virtue for high yielding corn. Well, I wish we could have planted April 10th, but you know, we just knew for what we were trying to do that we were not going to get that stand. You go back to our last 3 years have been our last 3 highest yields, and they've all been planted. Their earliest was planted, I think, May 13th, 14th, all the way up to like the 24th, 25th of May.
A lot of this other corn is taking 3 weeks to come out of the ground. This stuff is going to be out of the ground in 5 days, probably.
So tell me how much this corn has missed as far as growth compared to guys that planted April 1st. Nothing.
How fast were you able to run that strip till?
Depending on how much we were putting out, but most of it we were running about 8 mile an hour, 7, 8 mile an hour. We could run up to 10 and on naturally lighter amount, and then we had a couple strips we were going pretty slow. You know, I mean, but it's like anything else. You know, you take a ripper, you can pull a ripper, 15 shank ripper if you're only ripping 8 inches deep, but all of a sudden you drop her down to a foot deep, you find out you ain't got near big enough tractor, no matter what you put on it. So, but this is the lowest the river has been in the last.
Oh, at this time, maybe, yeah.
5 years, 6 years. We may even actually have a contest in a dumpster field this year.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Actually, our dumpster field was always our best field forever. And with the amounts of rain we had the last several years, we've just never been able to get a contest in it because it flooded all the time. And this is actually the first time in 4 or 5 years there's no water sitting in that field. So
this is the first field ever planted in strip till.
Yeah, this field here is the first field. I admit I like it.
This episode of Corn Warriors is presented by Pivot Bio.
Leading the charge in strip tillage for more than a decade, the Soil Warrior brings the future to your farm today.
I've got a whole new perspective on farming now. Kevin saved me probably 15 years worth of data in one meeting.
Don't even look at the expense because you're going to gain that back within 1 year. It's something that you're making a long-term investment in.
Every day I get home from work, it's guaranteed to be one thing. Either A, he's farming, carpet farming, as you can tell on the ground here. We got carpet farming, or he's playing sports, or it's on the Xbox farming. Well, you farm, it's in your blood. It's not a job, it's a lifestyle. And I think it's in his blood. I think it's stuck in his blood already. Were you fixing your planer? Is that why my tools are still out here? That makes sense. That's all right. You know, I'm the 6th generation that's been in this farming with the Atley name. I want to make sure that my kids get an opportunity, and their kids. So we're at my dad's house here. So this is where I was born and raised. And then my house is right over there, so you can tell I didn't make it too far away. But gonna come out here. We had some cropland corn we planted here on May 5th. It's been 108 GDUs, planted it last Tuesday. We're about 40 GDUs behind normal. Just gonna come out here, check on this beautiful Tuesday and see what the corn's doing. Maybe we can give it a rain jacket. Spacing's good. For being on an end row here and where we first started, I'm okay with that emergence. You can tell they just came up here, so that will work. Population here on this field is about 39,000 for an average, so it's 110-day corn. Every acre has the potential to be a contest acre. We kind of have the mindset that any field we go to at any time would be 300 plus bushel. It's all got tile on it, so. I wish it wasn't so muddy so we could look at the roots, but yeah, we got some hairs going already. You know, here in a couple months we'll be begging for a day like today. Yeah, she's going good. Grow to sunlight, little boy. I'm pretty happy with that. Get him off to a fast start. Normally what I do is I collect them and then try to compare them to different things. So any early emergence, things like that is something key that we want to see how a product's going to perform. Either early in the mornings or late at night, I'm either sneaking out after the planter shut down and doing these checks, but not in the slop and mud. As you can see, I'm going to have more seed stuck to my foot than I am going to do more damage just trying to go and checking on it. Just cut our population in half right there. You got a size 15, 300-pound man walking through a mud field. It's not good. As soon as we're done planting, before I get in the sprayer, it's pretty much walking field time. And that's about all I get done. But I enjoy it. I mean, this is the fun part, you know? It's like giving birth to a child, you know? Maybe my wife might not agree with me on that analogy, but, you know, every time you plant a seed and it comes up out of the ground, it's my baby. Until we see what she does. So, I want to nurture it and take care of it and keep checking in on it. I don't give it pep talks, I just tell it to do its job. I'll try to help it, you know, send it to the doctor every now and again for checkups and see what medicine we need to give it. We don't have much to fall back on, so we got to make the crop that we're growing count. I've never had a year where I look back and say, man, the stars aligned, everything was absolutely perfect. The difference between this year and last year is, you know, last year is 2-inch rain, followed by a 1-inch rain. And when you thought that was enough, a 4-inch rain came. It was just one big rain event after another. It just wouldn't let up. This year's been like a tease. You get 3/10, ½ inch, 1/10. Every time you get about half a day away from rolling, another 1/10 or 2 comes. So, and then even if Mother Nature treats us completely right and everything goes perfect, well, guess what? The USDA is going to say we're really perfect, and there goes all of our prices. So now I got to worry about trying to sell $2 corn. So how much of that can I raise to still make a profit? There's been a lot of farms, you know, that's been struggling, you know, just to keep our heads above water here. It's tough. Farming's not pretty right now. It's not a glamorous job. I don't see a whole lot of people lining up to be a farmer right now. It's probably going to be middle June before we're done planting. Profitability is getting harder. But I go back to the mindset, you got to be positive. We got to think outside the box as farmers. We got to do things. So how do you gain more bushels? By spending less dollars. That's what we're trying to do. Not too many people out there looking out for the farmers, so we got to kind of tend to ourselves. We got to look out for ourselves. And I think we do a nice job of that, trying to help each other. We're all feeling the pain right now. It will get better, but you know, take care of yourself, take care of your mental health. With everything that's going on right now, it's easy to give up hope on it. We just got to keep our head above water, and we'll get there. Don't be afraid to talk to another farmer about the hardships that you're going through, because I guarantee you they're probably feeling it too. We farmed this land for a long, long time, and I don't see farmers going anywhere. Networking is everything in farming. You know, I always try to surround myself with people smarter than me. That's how you get better. When you're going to do this against the big boys, people like Kevin Kalb and all that, I mean, you got to bring your A game. I want to beat them, but I know it's going to take a lot. But I think we're ready. I think we're ready to come on the national stage, and I think we can hold our own. Just got to get Mother Nature on the same page as us. You either swing for the fence or you're sitting on the bench.
This segment is brought to you in part by BASF. We create chemistry.
Just like at home, always doing the cleaning.
Kevin, you do never, ever, ever clean. You're such a liar. Ever.
Line that up, Matt. Matt Palmer, like I said, our agronomist, just not only a great agronomist, a better friend. Can't say enough good things about that guy. Start everything here.
So you're putting liquid on too?
Yeah.
What depth of the liquid?
It's getting mixed in with all the dry.
It's getting mixed in with the dries.
So these here run our road cleaners. These run the outside wings, and these here run where the tire tracks run, the gauges. So I always run this.
Change each one?
Yeah. That'll put more pressure down onto the road to go down further or not. You can see it mixes the whole profile. It's got fertilizer all the way through it. I just like this concept instead of the deep banding. Yeah, I mean, this ground here on this hill is normally rock hard, and look at that. I'm gonna make a prediction. If the river don't get it, this field right here will be the new world record. Yeah, the river don't get it. All righty, I'm gonna get going. Yeah. See you guys.
Forklift quit, so we push it out of the way and worry about it later. Planting season 2020.
We'll figure out a way. Good guys, Kevin and Brooke.
Us farmers have got to keep going. Forklift quit, normal out here.
One thing that we've learned is Mother Nature is undefeated. You either swing for the fence or you're sitting on the bench.
If you don't step on into the future just a little bit, you're going to be left behind.
I mean, it was the first field I planted, so all my planter troubles were here, all my fertilizer problems were here.
Better be on your toes this year, fellas. That's all I can say.
This episode presented by Pivot Bio.
were just talking about they want something to go wrong.
Yeah, I know. Right off the get-go.
Forklift quit. Don't know what happened to it. Worry about it later. No out here. Well, you guys ready to go to the field? I'm ready to go, so I'm gonna head out. We're doing some strip tilling today. This is our first year with strip till. The biggest reason why we're looking at strip till is still with this high management corn, our ROI is not where we want it to be, and we feel like we can get better management at the same time as saving money with saving, cost on fertilizer. So we are cutting our rates back. This is one of our better fields here. This is a 300 bushel field here for sure on an average. This will be a potential contest field. We don't really know for sure that this is going to be a contest field, but it's definitely a high management field at 300 bushel potential. Yeah, I got a little different mixture here. I'm doing some side-by-sides out here. So I want to run this out, then I'll have to come over and fill up. So that's what we got going on now. So I don't know if I'll get 2 rounds in or not, but then I'll have to come fill up. That's what we got going on today. With the strip till, we fight compaction so much, and with stripping here, we've already noticed when we come back in spraying that we've got a great base, and then coming back in field cultivating it, it's so soft, so mellow that these sprayers are so heavy. Even when it's dry and this loose sand, we track up these fields. These trips, we're carrying more weight with our planter and tractor, and then we're side dressing, and then we come back in with spraying, now wide dropping. It's just a lot of tracks, and we're excited about actually having a nice base to run on. This Soil Warriors helped us out on our timing too. With a field cultivator, our normal practice, we wouldn't be able to be out here now. So it's helping get out to the field a little sooner. We've got 3 different pressure gauges here. This is your center of the toolbar, behind the tires, and then your wings, and then this is your row cleaners. So it's pretty easy on adjustment. And this is the fold box. This your flow control tells you if you got a row not putting fertilizer out. Pretty easy to adjust on the go. We're excited about it. This Soil Warrior's been doing great. I'm very impressed and excited about the outcome.
On our farm, we're excited about using Pivot Bio from a net margin standpoint. If we can spend $1 and make $2, that's a win for us. And in the case of Pivot Bio last year, it was much better than a 5-to-1 return. You've had an opportunity to test a lot of different products from many different companies. This product is by far the largest net return on investment that we've seen. We will use Pivot Bio Proven on every acre that we have moving forward.
This segment is brought to you in part by BASF. We create chemistry.
Hi there, Dan Lipkus. Hey, we're here with Corn Warriors film crews here today. It's too wet for us to plant and do some other things, so we're going to go through some different things that we're doing on the farm. One of the kind of exciting things I want to talk about is the trials with Pivot Bio. Pivot Bio is a nitrogen fixing bacteria you put in furrow. The idea of it is you can actually use less nitrogen through the season or gain higher yields with the same amount of nitrogen. And I want to show a little bit how I'm doing my strips. I've got my in-furrow tank here, which our in-furrow products are going through. Our fertilizers with 318-18, some other things. We are mixing our pivot bile with that. In some areas we did a big portion of the field, and then I actually shut off for strips with or without the pivot bile, and then we have them marked. I have them flagged, and then I have them logged into my field view. And the way I'm able to do that and get an accurate test is this tank will have the pivot bile. On that trailer sitting over there, that's got my nitrogen tank in the rear, and it's got another starter tank, which would be the white tank in the front, our in-furrow tank. I pull that tank, and I have a valve system that I'll just shut off one of the other tanks. I can mark it, flag it, turn a valve, do a strip, switch it back to the way I was, then we've got a strip. I can do that again over across the field several different times. We can get some multiple test data, and we can find out if this stuff's really going to pay and it's really going to work. So we'll track that through Corn Warriors, and what will tell the tale will be at harvest with yield, but we're going to track it with tissue samples also, so we can see the nitrogen levels, and that hopefully will translate to yield. Stay tuned.
I think we're going to Leafite, right? Leafite. Yeah, that's the name of the farm. It's a fun one. We name all of our farms after whoever we bought them from, so.
This is the Leafite farm. Bought this a few years ago. I bought it because it was supposed to be a really, really good farm. And as far as the soil, it is. However, it holds on to a ton of moisture. It was just completely stripped of nutrients, and it's required a ton of fertilizer. I spent a lot of money tiling this field. I think I'm finally ready to be able to pull a crop off of it now. Honestly, it's yielded terribly. I've buried the sprayer here, and I've buried.
My shoes out there.
Yeah,
They disappeared.
and you've lost your glasses here. This entire field is pattern tiled to help with the drainage, and we've used gypsum to help loosen the soil up without changing the pH. We planted a cover crop last year. It's helped the soil biology a ton. I can find quite a few worms, and now the soil crumbles instead of just turning into a mud. That's real. Don't dig up your, it's planted right now. So. You can look at this. You got all these holes in there. That's all your worms digging. And now the soil just kind of falls apart. There's a nice little worm there. Every single time I dig now, there's a worm out here, and I couldn't even find a worm out here, you know, 2 years ago. So
if you look closely in this soil structure, you got it, but it's just full of minute root hairs from the cover crop last year. When the soil's a little drier, they show up even a little bit more.
Hello? Yeah, I need help setting this A-B line on this field.
Okay. Go to your menu button.
Okay. Put it in Carmichael, and field, west or east?
East.
Okay.
East. Do you know your directions? Didn't you learn that in your e-learning?
Put it at an angle?
Yeah. If it's too sharp or something, you can change it, but just try it and see if it works.
You want me to make a new angle, set A-B line?
I just don't want it real sharp angle.
Go 15 feet, hit A, and then go another 15 feet and hit set B?
Just stay under the angle that you know you can set your A and B again, and then you'll override it.
Okay. I think I got it from there.
All right, just go shallow. You don't have to go real deep. Just make sure it levels it good.
Thanks. Bye.
All right, see you.
Okay, it should be good. I am tilling or disking up the cover crop so my dad can come back and plant corn in it. This year's already been a hard year. We're ready to get it done with. I love farming. Every day at school, all I do is think about farming. But sometimes it's a lot of work, sometimes it's boring. There's a lot of things that's good and a lot of things that are bad. But most time it's good until you break something. And then it goes bad pretty fast.
Did you watch the show before your dad was in it?
Yeah, I watched it 2 years before. Every single night, I'd keep watching them and over and over.
Who did you think was going to win before your dad got there?
I was thinking David. I didn't know for sure because that year was not the best year. And anyone can have a chance.
13, 14, 15, 16.
Good there. So yeah, it's like your center is not quite as deep, isn't it?
What I like about this here is, you know, we've got fertilizer laying just underneath the top, all the way to 5 inches deep. So, you know, it's mixed all the way down in there, where some of these, I guess shank rigs you call them, it's all in one placement. You know, wherever the bottom of that shank and that tube is, that's where all that, you know, I guess you kind of got a hot spot there. So in my eyes, you've got more of an area. So even if the planter gets off a little bit, you're not doing a lot of damage. I mean not damage, but it's still going to hit that fertilizer. Just got a nice, pretty bed.
My name's Greg Hallenbeck. I'm with Environmental Tillage Systems, or more commonly known as the Soil Warrior strip till rigs. For those not familiar with strip till, a lot of times we call it zone till because we feel that we do it different. It's not just a narrow, concentrated band of fertilizer in there. We're actually mixing throughout the zone. Any guys are still disc ripping and then coming back with 1 or 2 tillage passes in the spring, plus maybe 1 or 2 fertility passes, nutrient application passes. We have some guys run in the fall only, some guys run in the spring only right ahead of the planter. A lot of it depends on geography, soil types, and workload. We're looking at how to efficiently put our fertilizer down and keep it there, not only so that we're not polluting waterways or that, but we're also achieving the ROI on that fertilizer investment.
You know, what we've seen so far, I mean, we've got a good base to run on, and you know, we're not disturbing that bed again, and we're doing our own test with a 16-row Warrior. It's matching up to our planter. And what I like doing is, you know, we're running the same blends we normally run, but I can pick out certain products of that blend. Our goal in doing that is see what benefit that, you know, that certain product's been to us. So, you know, we're doing that many more side-by-sides. We'll follow up with some tissue tests to see what that product is actually benefiting the crop. You know, I'm focusing on my phosphates, my potassiums, and some calcium sulfur. That's the main ones we're focusing with. Leaving most of my nitrogen, besides what our DAP is supplying us, leaving that for my planter pass. You know, our farm average last year, of course, was down, but not down as far as what we thought. I mean, if you would have told me we're going to average what we did, you know, when I was planting this stuff in 1st of June, I would have bet the farm against it. But we were down 18 bushel per acre across the whole farm. Our goal is 400 bushel corn. I think we can grow 400 bushel corn. We've seen it on the monitor. You know, you need 400 bushel corn to have 300 bushel averages. You know, my populations differ per hybrid, of course, but you know, last year I got a little crazy and I do need to pull back a little bit, but you know, I'm still gonna try my strips. When I got a farm like this, it's a 100-acre field, you know, I may have 6, 7 different populations out here just to try to learn what works best with that hybrid. You know, as far as hybrids across the farm, we're still all agri-gold. There is a couple new numbers I'm gonna try, but I mean, for the most part, it's the basic hybrids I've always planted. I mean, my favorite's 6659. I mean, that's been my highest yielding, so that's one I'm, you know, looking forward to planting again. You got the crown. I thought David had the crown. I want to wear it while I'm strip tilling. I got the soil warrior just like David, so why can't I wear it?
Leading the charge in strip tillage for more than a decade, the Soil Warrior brings the future to your farm today.
No matter what the weather throws at us, Pivot Bio Proven is harnessing what is naturally within the soil, making nitrogen available to the plant.
Where I applied Pivot Bio Proven, the average across the whole field was about a 5 to 6 bushel an acre benefit.
And we know that large rain events are not going to leach that nitrogen out into our water.
Gives you kind of that peace of mind that you're going to have 25 to 40 pounds of nitrogen that's there and safe.
To make this a financially and environmentally sustainable business.
Planting season 2020. Better than planting season 2019 for sure. A fair amount of the beans went in early. The rest of them went in when I got done with corn, which was just a few days ago. When we started planting beans, my furrow temperatures were showing in at like 31, 32 degrees, which is cold. When we were in corn, 45 to 55 degrees as through the day. The guys in the south, they can talk about waiting and you know, it pays, but it doesn't pay up here. We proved that last year.
Me and Melissa are out here checking some beans that have just emerged here in the last day or two. We just got 3.5 inches of rain about a day and a half ago. Actually, the top's dried off pretty good because this farm drains fairly well in the soils. These beans were planted, I think, April 21st. So you might as well say it took them better than 3 weeks to get out of the ground. We've dropped our planting populations on beans down a lot. We've been dropping them every year. It seems like I'm dropping 10 to 15,000 plants per acre a year without yield loss or, you know, even yield gain. So these beans are only planted at around 85,000. A lot of people would really scoff at that. Some people would add 100,000 to that. You know, they'd plant at 180, 140, 160. What we found is if you space these beans out more, singulate them a little bit more like corn, they will branch better. And if they branch better and the stems are hardier, they won't go down as easy. More branching, more pods, more yield. So you can save quite a bit of money on seed if you drop these populations down a little bit. They're just cracking through and we got a long ways to go. This ground's had, you know, 5 inches of rain since we planted it. It's still nice and mellow. I like to see that. We don't have near the earthworms that we showed over David's there a little while ago. I wish I had more like what he had that way, but it's still, tilth is real good. We'll see how it comes out.
Well, just 2 days ago, we had received 3.5 inches of rain here fast, you know, so we had a lot of erosion. The no-till held okay, but I was out in the field today that we no-tilled, and it still washed down the row some, washed some seed out. The earliest stuff since planting's probably had at least 6 inches. That's what I'm talking about, like we have to go when the conditions are right. Lately, it seems like the last 3 years it's just so wet all the time that we get such small windows that we have to go. It's not like the guys in the south that can wait. We have to go when we can go. It's more about field conditions than it is temperatures or GDUs coming. We just have to be able to get the crop in, and we have very short windows to do that anymore.
I'm collecting rhubarb so that I can make rhubarb crisp.
for supper tonight. Did you know that rhubarb leaves are poisonous? Actually and honestly. So you don't want the leaves. And you actually, if you mix the red and the green is what I like to do, so that you get the sour and the sweet. My grandma has the best rhubarb crisp recipe, so we will be using my grandma's recipe. There you go.
Want to sniff? We think as farmers and as businessmen that we kind of have things figured out sometimes, but then a world event comes in and just kicks us right square in the you know what. It completely changes the world within a few months, changes the way that we're going to run our farms, changes the way that we are going to manage, all because of a virus and the way things are going. For me, it's been pretty kind of depressing, tell you the truth. I thought we kind of were on a pretty good path, and all of a sudden now the farm looks like it's pretty hard to be profitable. So we're concentrating on some things. You know, we always look to the future, as most farmers do. We're hoping that things get better. We have cut costs. Our ROI view has changed. We're, like a lot of guys, we're probably a little scared of the way things are going to be. We never thought the world could change on us this quick. We're just going to try to get through this. It's really nothing compared to what our ancestors and a generation back went through, or 2 generations back went through. As farmers, we're eternal optimists, and we'll figure out a way. That's just kind of how we're going to play it on this farm.
I am 29, Allegan, Michigan. It's all irrigated, so look out, Brooks.
My name is Eric Reed. You know, I set the Alabama record. We knocked the fence down.